Hello students, welcome back to the biology class. So in the last class we finished the 22nd chapter, that is the chemical coordination and integration, and today in the class we are going to start with the first chapter, that means the first unit of biology, which includes just 4 chapters, and then the whole syllabus of the biology would be completed. So the first chapter talks about, chapter name is the living world, and it talks about what exactly should be the definition of living and how living organisms are different from the non-living, and then why do we need classification, why do we need nomenclature, that means the topic of biodiversity, and then how should we help ourselves with understanding the diversity around us. So the first thing to understand is what exactly is the living system. So we all know life is defined as a collection of lots of molecules, and these molecules are able to work together, interact together, and then they express themselves, and finally we find the reactions going on, and these reactions are called as metabolic reactions. So this is the main concept of the living organism, that there will be metabolic reactions, but then apart from them there are many other types of characteristics which distinguish living from non-living. The easiest one is the one when we talk about the concept of the metabolism. We all know metabolism, and when we talk about growth, these are the most important and the first point which always come in our mind when we talk about living organism. So when we talk about growth, we all know that all living organisms are able to undergo growth, and growth is irreversible, quantitative increase in the mass of the individual, and all living organisms, they show growth. This growth can be by the number of the cells increasing, or it is even possible that instead of the number of the cell, the size of the cells increase. So any one of method will cause, or both of them together may cause the growth of the individual. And growth can be is something which is controlled by the external factors as well as the internal factors, and then there will be some growth which is visible inside the living organism, and some growth are visible towards the outside of the organism. We all know even human is a living organism. So we are able to undergo growth, and this is one of the main criteria when we talk about the characteristics of living organism, or how do we distinguish living from non-living. The second topic we can talk about is the process of reproduction. We all know that the formation of new individuals with the help of sexual reproduction or the asexual reproduction, that means involving single parent or involving two parents, is another concept which is found only in the living organism. No living organism is there which is without the process of reproduction, and different organisms have different methods of reproduction, but one thing is common: they all reproduce. So reproduction can be considered as one of the characteristic of all living organism. Then the another concept we can talk about is the metabolism. Metabolism is considered as the most important characteristic of the living organism, and we all have learned in the junior classes that metabolism is the overall inclusion of all constructive as well as destructive reactions. That means breakdown as well as build up. So breakdown basically to yield energy, and build up is to add on to the biomass. So both of these reactions are considered as the sum total is considered as the metabolism. So metabolism is not shown by the non-living organism, but however some metabolic reactions can be carried out in the cell-free system or outside the cell, or in the artificially synthesized conditions in the lab. Metabolism is of two types, anabolism and catabolism, and differences are, you have something which already covered in the junior classes. So metabolism is one another. So far we have learned that living organisms show growth, living organisms are able to do reproduction, and third, they are able to perform metabolic reactions. So the cellular organization of the body is defined as the feature of the life forms. Now apart from that, there are other characteristics also which distinguish living from non-living. For example, we can talk about the cellular organization. We all know that the cells join to form tissues, tissues join to form organs, organs join to form organ system. So this whole concept of cellular organization is something which is found only in the living organism. We don't find such type of organization or hierarchy of organization in the non-living things. So if we talk about all living organisms, they are made up of one or more cells. So cells are the basic organization unit, and single cell organisms have a cell-like body, and in higher organism there will be cells joining together to form tissues, or it could go up to the level of complexity called as organs, or it can go up to organ systems to form a complete organism. So there are various other characteristics also, for example, to respond consciousness, to respond to the changes in the surrounding, that means to show response towards the stimulus can also be considered as one of the characteristic of the living organism. So all organisms, whether we talk about prokaryotes or we talk about eukaryotes, they all are able to sense changes in the environment, and the change in the environment once sensed will cause a response in them. So this property of living organism is called as the property of responsiveness. So to show a response for a stimulus is another characteristic of living organism.